she was going, what do you mean by vibe? So then I had to go into this
Oh,
whole big detail about actually what I meant.
do you find that like when you talk to people like that though, and they really make you want to say it back to you? I said something was sick the other day in the office, and
Yeah.
one of the staff went, "What do you mean by that,
Yeah,
Simon?"
yeah,
And
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
"Oh, I've never really thought about it. I thought I could just say the thing and then
You know,
moving on."
but if you're not a creative person,
Yeah.
how do you how do you describe to somebody that what I do as a creative person varies from day to day? Is it that I write music, compose music, record music, collaborate with other art forms, collaborate with photographers, collaborate with video makers. Not only do I do the singing, but then there's actually, write crime books, write science fiction, yeah, write stage plays,
Well,
some of which I might or might not be in.
just even like the things that you talk about there, where like you've got a website,
Yeah,
but even then it feels really difficult to go like, well, when someone looks at the website, what's the first thing you want them to see?
yeah,
Like, but then it's like
yeah,
there's no priority there because you want everyone who goes on there to see
yeah,
the art of it as
yeah,
well,
yeah,
and
yeah,
the complexity of it and
yeah.
everything. And it's
So
like,
that's why on my website, the first bit goes introducing.
yeah,
And
that's a good website.
yeah, I go like, introducing, then first thing on my website actually is a few quotes from, actually there's a quote from the Ark there, and that talks about, Dominic Nelson-Ashley does all these different art forms.
Who wrote it? Does it attribute it to anyone in particular in Arc? Or is it...
Yeah,
Okay.
Alex.
Alex. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alexander.
So if you look on my website, it goes like it goes introducing on the first page introducing, right? Go on my website. It goes Alex Ferris. It's a quote from him. Goes like Dominic Nelson-Ashley does a combination of art forms, and he's the only one doing that combination around here.
Yeah, I mean, did you work with Alex prior to him coming here?
Nope.
Ah, okay. So like, I've travelled a little bit in the regions and stuff to different art centres, etc.
Yeah.
So he was at Leeds Playhouse before here and that.
Yeah.
But working with a theatre in, they're called Thick Skin. They're in Greater Manchester,
Right.
Wigan, they're based. And they were talking about how great he is and stuff like that, really directing all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, it's so nice to hear that like he's had this travel originally from Wales over the country, and now he's got this like he's in Stockton. So obviously, like we Annabelle left to go to Cheshire, Chester, sorry, and then we got Alex in, and it's really hard to fill Annabelle's boots. They were quite big boots to fill.
Yeah.
But Alex, pretty big boots himself. I was like,
There we
pretty
go.
lucky in Stockton having these like great people, great minds as well, and he's very good at. He had this year where he just took everything in, and now he's like actioning things. That was most of last year, and then this year as well will be like furthermore. So he's got ideas and thoughts. Like we brought dance back last year for the first time in Arc in ages. We've always had a theatre and dance program, but no dance. Now it's like it's distinct. It makes sense. Someone goes, well, we can have that. I've started recording now. Everything's looking good. So when talking to me, do you want me to kind of like be here? So like when we're talking, there's an.
Well, the main important thing is that it gets recorded, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So
but
I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you,
Yeah.
and if I'm looking at you and it's looking good on the camera, it's all good.
Yeah, I'll stay here. So like, listen, like we have a conversation here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your points of contact with Arc then. Like we discussed, that question's really gnarly, isn't it? But tell me about your first experience and engagement with Arc. Arc, by the way, I know like we're talking like engagements and stuff like that in regards to like things.
Right.
This doesn't necessarily have to be positive, negative, neutral, etc.
All right.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Right. Okay. So I'm Dominic Nelson-Ashley, creative person. I've been in the area 30 years. I've been actively involved in many creative activities in the front and the back. So I used to be on the board of Tees Music Alliance. So I've been about.
Yeah.
So my first contact with the Arc would have been as a paying customer, right? To come in here and you see, like different things going on, because Arc is that place. Every town has that particular hub where that's, you want something that's different, that's not music, that is, covers a range of art forms. Every town has that, and well, in my head anyway, Arc is that place for Stockton. So my thinking back, I can't necessarily remember something specific, but it would have been a show that would have been something slightly different. You know, it wouldn't have been like a standard, oh, it's a comedian or it's whatever. It would have been something left of center.
Yeah, okay. Do you think it's probably part of our theatre program, maybe?
Yeah, probably. And I definitely remember I used to come a lot when there used to be like these work in progress shows. There used to be a lot of work in progress shows. I think that, you know, with I can't remember who by different drama groups, etc. I think at the university, etc. When they were doing their end of year shows and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
They used to be here. I used to come to all of them. Right. But if you're talking about me as a performer, if that's your main thrust, then to be honest with you, my first actual contact was quite negative.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it, because
what year was it?
we're talking, I think 2018.
Right. Okay.
I think 2000. I had a poetry collection called Original Soundtrack.
Right.
That was my first big, you know, I was getting somewhere with it. And I'd managed to secure a gig in down south near Oxford, right? And what I wanted to do, I wanted to develop it, trial it here. Now I'd already got a gig. They'd already gone like, they've read the poetry, they've gone like, oh great, fantastic, we love you, what you're about, come down. But I'm going like, right, okay. And that would have been the first time I'd done like an hour show. They wanted an hour show to 90 minutes. So I'm going like, right, okay, I've got the material, right? But all the other gigs I'd done before that, longest I'd done was half an hour, right?
Yeah.
So because like to go from half an hour to an hour, it's like, okay, you got to be on it, you got to have everything. Yeah. So like, I'm like, okay, I've got my projections together. So I just wanted to just like, right, okay, let's just put it all together, see what it looks like. It was a pain to to just get a room here, just to just trial it out. So that didn't actually happen, right? Here. And then another experience was, I had a couple of experiences like that. I wanted to trial stuff, and then the ARC were going like, well, we don't actually do theatre stuff. Yeah. We don't do that. You know, we don't develop stuff here at the ARC. Everybody who does stuff, it's all brought in. So I thought that didn't make sense to me. I'm going like, okay, ARC, you're the number one theatrical space, right, in Stockton. Why aren't you developing stuff? And it's not actually, from my head, didn't actually seem to be like a hard thing to do, because fundamentally, the first part is like, oh, you need a big space to actually trial stuff. It's not necessarily about like, you know, oh, you need this bit of funding or that bit. Sometimes you just need like a big room so you can run around to go like, oh, does this work, right? So that was my initial experiences of trying to do creative stuff at the ARC. Now, that compared to now is light and day. It's completely different.
So what was that then? What was that change in, like, what was it a person? Did you see, I don't know, like, because we're an arts venue, obviously the Arts Council dictate a lot as well of what we do.
Well, there was two things. Firstly, when I said like, okay, they don't develop things here, that was a problem. I thought that wasn't just an issue for me on a personal level. I thought that was an issue for the ARC as how they want to position themselves. It's going to be, from my head, like having worked with different organisations, it seems to me you're missing a trick there by not being a theatre, a local theatre and you don't develop stuff, and you get Arts Council funding, and you get funding from other places. It seems to me like you're missing a major trick there. But for me personally, what changed is, for want of a better word, I became relevant. As in, they were looking for black or black British people to do theatre pieces in the Ark. I think, you know, there was funding for it, and 2 different people, good friends of mine, contacted me about it, and I ignored it because it was because of my previous experiences with the Ark. I just went, nah, I'm not having anything to do with the Ark, right? Right? Because, like, you know, so, you know, I said, oh, this looks too good to be true. Actually, you know, you want to develop, you know, you have a budget to develop art pieces. You know, the money is for, you know, black people in the area, right? I tick the box, right? And also, I didn't want to be like I'm just a token thing, you know, just a token.
Yeah, it's hard. With
This,
like
you know, so I ignored it. But then these friends phoned me up and going like, Dominic, you ought to do this. So I dashed off the application form. I really couldn't be bothered. I was dashed it off. I didn't hear anything. Right? I thought, all right, okay. And then they emailed me back and saying like, oh yeah, you've got it. But the time frame, the window was really short. Right? So that was another thing. I was like, right. But fortunately, being a writer who's been doing this a long time, I had not stuff that was finished, ready to go, but I have a process, and like there's things I wanted to talk about. So I actually managed to pull it together. And then, you know, part of the process, they said, oh, well, you know, we need to see the structure, and you need to work with a dramaturg, or if I'm saying that right, that particular process.
I heard that word twice today.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Crazy.
So they put me in touch with a lady called Paula. She was great, and I had a chat with her, and she was, you know, the dramaturg, yeah, we had a couple of online chats, and she basically said, "Hey, you don't need me."
Hey.
So from that, I developed a one-man show called My Name Is Paul, about being a black father in the Northeast. And what it was a combination of lots of my poems about fatherhood interwoven with a narrative based on things that really happened to me. So one of the things is that I got racially abused in Middlesbrough Town Centre. So that was in there. I got stopped by the police. Me and my wife, we got stopped by the police, and the police said the reason they gave for stopping us was that I was wearing the wrong type of hat. So exactly, so by the look of your face, it sounds like crazy. So it's actually crazy. So I used that as a comedy skit. You know, it's like, because I then went off and interviewed lots of my mates, and like, have you ever been stopped by the police? And all the black people went like, yeah. And I wrote down all the craziest things that they said. You know, so my favorite was, you weren't speeding, but you looked like you were going to speed.
Yeah, that's good.
That's. I mean, that's. So I did that, and then it started as funny, and then I turned it into like a breakdown. You know, because as a black person, you get all these microaggressions and stuff like that.
Yes.
And then there's another funny thing is like, which is a true story. My daughter is dyslexic, and then she learned to read. And then she hacked into my Amazon account and bought books, right? So you can't complain. Go like, all right, you've done a bad thing. Just like, yeah, but it's books. Like, so I had all these little kind of stories like that, which I wove into a narrative of fatherhood. And then I already had quite a few poems, so I was able to produce that work relatively quickly, and I was happy with the standard of it, because even though the time frame to create the work was quite short due to the funding restrictions, I already had the material, and it was a case of like, and some of that material poetry had already been road tested. I'd already done gigs with it, but the bit that was new was like, okay, the narrative and me being an actor, because even though I'm a poet, my thought process isn't that of an actor. So when I say my name is Paul, the character I'm playing is somebody called Paul.
Yeah, so that helped you almost like develop it because you could